Hello there. Welcome to the Saroy channel, wherever you are in the world, and so much love to each and every one of you. How are you doing? I do hope you're doing remarkably well. I'm doing fabulous, thank you very much, and I'm so thrilled you've joined me for a story tonight, because there's nothing that beats a good story. So before we get started, go and get yourself that effervescent sparkling drink, lovely, cooling and refreshing, or if you prefer something warmer, something like that, like a coffee or a cocoa, because I've got a fabulous story for you tonight. But before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell and the thumbs up. And let's get started with tonight's story. Dear Sarah, and all your lovely listeners, there is pandemonium around our household. It's almost like doors and windows have been left open, while gale-force winds are blowing through the entire farmhouse. But this obstreperous windy activity is caused by people, not by the weather. They're darting to and fro across the lawn of our backyard, like dozens of headless chickens, frantic to get things done quickly before the big day that is looming progressively ever closer and closer as the seconds steadily glide into minutes and the minutes into hours. Time is moving too fast, way too fast for comfort. Indeed, if I could control it even for a brief second, just so that I could stop and pause for a second to draw in a deep breath, I most surely would. It's almost like watching the sand slipping through the hourglass as I wait for that moment when I walk down the aisle to marry Murray Sanderson, whom I've loved since as long as I can remember. Indeed, I'd nursed secret crushes on him since I was about 13 years old. I'd noticed him at church and around our small little rural town in Montana, where everybody knew each other in passing, even if they didn't know each other personally. Let's just say I would clandestinely watch him, like a crow on a wooden post and rail fence. I'm sure he had no idea he was being closely studied by a pair of admiring eyes. Suffice to say, crows can have a fixation on sparkling things. I guess you could say my sparkling fixation was always Murray Sanderson, as no other boy held my attention like he did. I know this quintessential secret about crows, as me and my brother Cameron dismantled a crow's nest once when we were kids. We bravely climbed up the oak tree in our backyard. We discovered a plethora of shiny trinkets in the crow's nest. We were beguiled with wondrous awe when we found the old kitchen key lying in the nest, which my father had been looking for a long time, and so he'd had to change the locks in our house. Not that crime was a problem living in an old farmhouse in this part of the world, where crime was an alien word that we only ever identified with on television documentaries. It was so far from our lives. Still, you couldn't be too careful, could you? And it was wise to be prudent. Then my mother's diamond ring was lying on the branches of this nest, dangling on the edge of a little twig like a hook. She had taken it off her fingers, leaving it on the table of our wraparound porch, as she had been stung by a hornet on her finger, and it was swelling, so she had to remove the ring, while she went to apply an antihistamine cream to the sting. Let's just say when she returned to the Adirondack table to look for her diamond ring, it had mysteriously vanished. None of us suspected that the unorthodox thief was of the feathery kind, and my mother's lost treasure was suspended in the branches of a tree, adding glamour to a crow's nest. We found glistening gum wrappers, coins, bottle tops and pieces of aluminium foil, folded up into the nest, perfectly arranged for the crow to visually appreciate their beauty. I always rather wondered what he must have felt when he returned to his secret stash, only to discover his nest had been treacherously vandalized, and the greatest treasures he had procured over the years had been stolen back, namely my mother's diamond ring and the kitchen key, that must have been prominent aesthetic features in his nest. I knew the feathery culprit rather well. He was a regular visitor in our backyard, often hovering around the dustbins looking for another sparkling wrapper to steal for his nest. But I rather liked the bird. He had character, shining black eyes that watched everything and missed nothing. We had called him Sparkle after our discovery. He probably knew more about what was actually going on our farm than we actually did, and I couldn't help clandestinely wondering what he was making of the current activities in our backyard, where a plethora of mysterious trucks were haphazardly parked, with signs on the side panels that read "Floral Masterpieces by Luciano," "DJ Kings," and Joanne's spectacular balloons, or wedding suppliers that scurried across the manicured lawn, carrying boxes of goodies in their hands, or playing an intrinsic part in making my wedding an occasion to remember. I admit I was prepossessed by Murray Sanderson, for reasons I cannot explain, and almost certainly wish I knew. Why is it that some people can capture our imaginations, drawing us in like the bait on the end of a fishing rod? Why do we bite that bait so easily, beguiled by its intoxicating allure that may not actually be very good for us? I don't know the answer to that enigmatic question. The only thing I do know about Murray is that he had this callow, boyish face with a fresh innocence that was so captivating. Even if Murray himself was the very antithesis to the childlike face, with its dimpled cheeks and inquisitive hazel eyes that he presented to the world. A little like Matt Damon when he was young. Of course, growing up, I admired him from a peripheral perspective, as staring at him would have been too obvious. Let's just say never for a moment would I have ever perceived he would have been interested in me. The hometown queen, yes, but me, most definitely not. I was a reticent child growing up, so I'd watched Murray Sanderson go through a plethora of girlfriends like you might eat a packet of M&Ms, enjoying every single flavour and colour. That was Murray Sanderson for you. Variety was the spice of his life, so he didn't get bored. I knew I'd never have the pleasure of holding his hand or looking up into his hazel eyes, but the hometown queen most certainly did. But he lost interest in her, as he did everyone else he dated. No one seemed to hold his attention for very long. He was like a spoilt boy with a brand new toy train set that was already drooling over the latest new editions currently on offer at the toy shop, as the grass was always significantly greener on the other side for the likes of Murray Sanderson. Then one day it happened. I was in the bookstore in town, going through the cookery section, as I was looking to buy my mother a birthday present. Then there he was, Murray Sanderson himself, showing off his white teeth for maximum effect in a very alluring smile that almost made my heart miss a beat and my legs crumble beneath me. Murray Sanderson was looking at me. Had Christmas come early this year? I remember his childlike face looked so animated. "Of how can I be of help?" he asked me. "You work here?" I asked him, looking rather surprised. "Yes, I work here. My uncle owns this bookshop, you know. He sometimes needs help on a Saturday afternoon, so here I am," throwing his arms up in an exaggerated gesture of exasperation, as if the last place in the entire world he wanted to be was in his uncle's bookshop. But like a bridled horse, he remained tethered to the stable very dutifully to appease his uncle. "Oh, I see," I say, giggling. "Well, I hope he pays you well and doesn't exploit you then." "Don't worry about that. If my uncle didn't pay me well, I would almost certainly not work for him. If my uncle tried to take advantage of me, then he wouldn't see me for dust, and he knows that very well." "Good for you, I say. I think if it were my uncle who owned this bookstore, if he needed a helping hand, he'd probably expect me to work for free." Murray looked visibly appalled. "Well, I hope you wouldn't work for free. You should always know your own worth. Never sell yourself short. Everyone deserves to be paid. Anyway, how can I help you? I see you're looking for something, and I hasten to say I know all the books in here like the back of my hand." He pauses for a moment. "Well, almost all the books. Put it this way," he says, lowering his voice. "Some books aren't worth knowing, like some people in our small town." I laugh. "I'm fine," I say coquettishly. "I'm looking for a cookery book for my mother. For her birthday, that's all. She loves cookery books. I want to get her one to add to her collection. But judging by this vast selection, it's a minefield. The question is where to start, what to actually buy. Which one is actually good? Do you know what I mean?" Murray gives me a huge grin. "Then look no further," he says, lifting up a cookbook with a title called The Essential New York Times Cookbook by Amanda Hesse. "This book is walking off the shelves, let me tell you. The recipes have all been tried and tested. They're awfully good. I had to order a whole new batch of them last week. We're completely sold out. They're in great demand at the moment. But your mother hasn't got a copy of it, has she?" "No, definitely not. I'd recognise it. I'll take it. Thank you so very much for your help." "It's a pleasure." he says, as I follow him to the counter to pay for my purchase. He looks up at me and says, "Do you happen to like milkshakes?" "Who doesn't?" I say. "Fancy joining me for a milkshake in a few minutes' time? I've got time to take off." I would love that, I'd said. Let's just say that milkshake was the beginning of our budding romance, and I never envisaged I'd end up engaged to the young boy, now a handsome man, whom I'd nursed a crush on for so many years. I never believed that my infatuation towards him would be reciprocated, but tomorrow we were getting married. I could hardly believe it. We'd been together for 5 years now, and I had such happy visions of the future we would enjoy together, how many children we would have, where we would finally live. My chest was tight, my heart was pounding in my ears, and there were still hours to go. If I was like this now, I'd be like a bag of nerves by tomorrow morning. I'd barely eaten a thing all day. I knew that my juddering stomach would be unlikely to retain its contents, as my nervous disposition would likely cause me to vomit incessantly. I glance out of my bedroom window, in the top story of our colonial-style home, and can see all the activity on the lawn below, as people frantically dash backwards and forwards, carrying vases filled with flowers and crates of alcohol to the bar area that has been set up in a very small separate tent. The marquee is up on the lawn with its double king poles. It looks magnificent against the viridescent greens of the countryside. So many people doing all this work on my account. It is rather daunting. I hear my mother's feet dashing up the staircase as she hurriedly enters my bedroom to check on me yet again. She had insisted that I do nothing the day before my wedding. "It's all about you, sweetheart. The bride must sit back in her ivory castle, being waited on hand and foot. I don't want you to do a thing, lift a finger. This is your big day. It's all about you." "Oh, there you are, Nicole. I've been looking for you everywhere," she says, breathing heavily. My poor mother is out of breath. She looks quite frantic, as if the weight of the world is on her shoulders, as she's juggling so many things at once. Let's not kid. Arranging a wedding for 150 people is not easy. My mother is carrying a silver shoebox in her hands. "Oh, they've finally come. The lady from the wedding dress shop just delivered them to me. She had a hell of a time seeking them out for you, but she's found a supplier that had your size. Things are looking up. Thank God." She passes me the shoebox. "I was worried sick. I thought they wouldn't have your size. Just imagine, you could have been sauntering down the aisle tomorrow in your bare feet," she chuckles. "Thanks, Mum," I say, opening the shoebox to inspect the shoes. My enthusiasm is wavering. "They really are perfect," I say, as I admire the satin court shoes and run my fingers down the smooth, luxurious fabric. "Well, don't just stand there, sweetheart. Are you going to try them on or not? You need to see if they actually fit you." "It says they're my size, Mum. Do I really need to put them on right now?" "Try them on, sweetheart. I can't face the prospect of anything going wrong tomorrow." I sit down on the side of the bed, trying to slip my foot into the shoe, but my feet are too big. "You've got to be kidding," says my mother, throwing her arms around her head. "They don't fit. This is a nightmare. I can't believe it after everything I've been through." I will admit the shoes not fitting on my feet left a rather bitter taste in my mouth, rather reminding me of the Cinderella story, when the king's courtiers go around the kingdom, looking for the feet that will fit into the shoe, so the king can find his perfect princess, the fit for his life, the missing link to his heart. Something about the shoes not fitting cast a dark shadow of doubt on my impending marriage, I couldn't help but think. Of course, I was just being silly, but I couldn't help being a tad superstitious. My mother is now on her cell. "No, she's tried them on. She's with me right now. They didn't fit. The shoes are absolutely tiny. You must have got the wrong size. That's right. Look, I'm exhausted. I've got 1,000 things to do. Yes, I've got a wedding planner, but she's about as useful as a beached whale. Honestly, that woman hasn't lifted a finger, you know. I don't know what I'm paying her for. Yes, I'm still here. Thank you, I'll appreciate it." My mother switches off her cell phone. She thinks she may have replaced the wrong shoes in the box. An oversight on her part. Just a mistake. Lucky you tried on the shoes. Thank goodness, my mother sighs. That's a relief. Once we've got your feet sorted out for the big day, I'll feel so much better. A wedding dress without shoes is not going to be a good look. My mother is studying me. Concern dapples her face. You look as white as a sheet, dear. Are you sure you're all right? She says, running her hands across my forehead. Your temperature's fine. Have you eaten? You look peaky. You need to get some food into you right now. You can't run on empty, you know. I'm just nervous, very nervous, I say. I can't think straight. I've got butterflies in my stomach. If I eat anything, I'll throw up. I feel quite queasy. Of course you can't think straight, sweetheart. I was exactly the same when I married your father. Now you go and get something to eat, even if it's only a piece of toast to lie in your stomach. And then you must have a lie down. You'll feel a whole lot better. I know things are chaotic at the moment and everything is in disarray, but I promise you, sweetheart, everything is going to be magnificent in the morning. Just you wait and see. My mother is tapping into her cell phone, hanging on to its every promise. You'll be glad to know, sweetheart. The forecast is fine and sunny for tomorrow, she says, looking at me with bright, enthusiastic eyes. Oh, that's such good news. What a relief. When I married your father, it bucketed down with rain. It was so windy. We were almost blown off the cliff face. So it looks like the weather is certainly on your side. The marquee looks amazing, doesn't it? I just love its architecture. It's so modern and chic. You should see the table decor, sweetheart, with the white tablecloths and sparkling silverware, and the mixed displays of pink, purple and cream roses. It's out of this world. The DJ's just been to set up the dance floor and the lights. I met him. He's quite the charmer, he is. I gave him your list of favourite music. Oh, it's going to be stupendous. I just can't wait. I've been in touch with the wedding cake people, by the way. Your cake looks incredible, I'm told. I gather the porcelain figurine of the bridegroom fell off the cake, shattered into hundreds of pieces. I told them not to bother with it. I mean, having a bride and groom on the cake, it's a bit passé. Rather old hat, isn't it? So they'll be replacing it with flowers, you'll be glad to know. They're delivering the cake first thing in the morning. They're going to set it up in the marquee in the far corner. It's 3 different layers, 3 different cakes, black forest, red velvet and vanilla sponge, exactly what you wanted. Just so you know, I checked with the makeup artist and hairstylist. They'll be here at 9:30 in the morning to do your makeup, to do the hair and nails. So you see, everything is going smoothly. I mean, there's guaranteed to be a few hiccups along the way, but we'll iron them all out. Just you see that we don't. Mum, just relax. Leave everything to the wedding planner. It's not your job to do everything. That's what you're paying her for. Tell me something I don't know, says my mother, rolling her eyes. That woman's a nightmare, an absolute nightmare. I knew I should be deliriously happy as a bride-to-be, shouldn't I? I mean, I was marrying my childhood crush after all. But something was irking me. Even the very fact that the porcelain figurine of the groom had just randomly fallen off the cake like that, shattering into hundreds of pieces, along with the wedding shoes not fitting my feet. It seemed ill-omened and very inauspicious. Yet there was something else, a deep inner haunting cry, that I could not articulate or verbalise. It was as if a vacuous hollow inside my gut, a whispering nudge, you could say, that was obsequiously clawing away at me, audaciously demanding my attention, but was far too ambiguously obscure for me to actually perceive, much like a hot air balloon in liftoff that I cannot grasp as it's taken off into the sky and is beyond my reach, almost as if my subconscious was disclosing or murmuring a secret to me that I just cannot fathom, or maybe I just don't want to. I loved Murray Sanderson, didn't I? I mean, he was the only boy I'd ever really liked. And tomorrow I was marrying him. But were the butterflies flapping around in my stomach rarely nerves of trepidation brought on by excitability? Or was this flapping feeling inside of me that twisted my stomach into a plethora of sailor's knots something far more sinister? I couldn't be sure. I remember the day came and went in such a blur, with people dashing across our lawn like a colony of frenzied ants, being disturbed and scattered, frenetically carrying their eggs off to a safer spot. It looked just like that. I could see the uptight, exhausted, fatigued look on people's faces. My mother was standing next to the wedding coordinator, throwing her arms around like an oscillating octopus. I knew she was having some kind of altercation, so I surreptitiously opened the window of my bedroom to listen in. I'd never seen my mother so hot under the collar before. I mean, I was getting married in the morning, for goodness sake. Was it necessary for her to get her knickers in a twist like this? My mother looked livid. Her streamlined body was jiggling with indignation, like a small sapling in the woodgrove hit by a fierce windstorm. Her golden hair was equally as buoyant, reminding me of the golden leaves on an oak tree in fall. If her hair wasn't fortunately fixed on her head, it would almost certainly have fallen off, given the feisty way she was swinging her arms around. Every part of my mother's face was puckered up like a hideous gargoyle, as she eyed the wedding coordinator with contempt. If my mother had given me such a ferocious look, I would have almost certainly run a mile. I knew my mother wanted my wedding to go seamlessly, but her pursuit for perfection was never going to be acquired. "My daughter is getting married in the morning, and I've done all the work. I'm appalled by your disinterest in my daughter's big day. I mean, you call yourself a wedding planner? What is it you advertised on your brochure? Oh, let's see. We take all the stress out of your big day so you don't have to lift a finger. Look at my fingers. I've almost got calluses on them. I've been working so hard. But look at you. Oh, no, your nails are perfect. I bet you haven't even cracked your nail varnish yet. What have you actually done? Tell me, young lady, what have you actually done? What am I bloody paying you for? To sit back and look pretty? No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so." I could see my father walking over the yard towards my mother to appease the tense situation. My loyal, self-controlled father was forever the peacemaker. "Sweetheart, you're exhausted. Look at you. You're very fatigued. There's no need to be so hard on Miss Barnes here. She's trying her best, and she's been a great help to us. We couldn't have managed without her." The wedding coordinator is choking up with tears. "I don't need to listen to this. No one's ever been so rude to me as you've been. People like you should be ashamed of yourself. You should organise your own bloody wedding. I've had enough. I'm getting out of here. I know when I'm not wanted, and I shan't be coming back," she spouts as she runs across the lawn to her truck and drives away with a marked acceleration, as her tyres viciously rip through our lawn, leaving behind a jagged, muddy trail. I was sure she'd done that deliberately. "Look what you've done, Sandy. That wasn't a very nice thing for you to do. You treated the woman most unkindly," my father says, putting a comforting arm around her. "I hate to see you stressed, sweetheart. You really must try and relax. The way you're going on, you could have a coronary." "Sweetheart, our daughter is getting married in the morning. There's so much to do. I've organised the dress, the flowers, the cake, the table decor, the menu. But you tell me, what has she done? A big fat zero," says my mother, making a circle with her fingers. That evening, after I came up from dinner, I saw a note on my dressing table, written in black ink, in a handwriting I was rather familiar with. It said, "Sis, I'm back. Meet me in our favourite secret spot. I've got some champagne on ice waiting for us. Can't wait to see you, Cameron." Growing up, me and my brother Cameron were incredibly close. He was a year older than me. He may as well have been as old as my dad. He was that protective of me. In truth, I loved my brother more than anyone else in the world, for I could talk to him about things I would never ever share with another living soul. My brother had moved to Florida. I wasn't surprised that he hadn't popped over to see my parents first, as my brother always saw me as his first priority. He'd want to see me before anyone else. My parents probably assumed he'd be arriving tomorrow for the wedding, but he was already here. He must have surreptitiously slipped into the house to leave me a note, when he could have left a message on my cell phone. It made it all the more special for me. My heart lifted with an excited ebullience that I hadn't felt all day. It was as if in a single second all my troubles had all but floated away, like a bird on the wind. I was more excited about seeing my brother, whom I had not seen for 5 months, than getting married in the morning, which seemed more than a little incongruous. I knew there was no love lost between my brother and Murray Sanderson. I'd even confided in him, when I was very little, how much I liked Murray. He had screwed up his face in a bemused disgust and said, "Why do you like him? I just don't get it." "I don't know. I find him really attractive. I guess he's got this cheeky boyish face." My brother had rolled his eyes and said, "Girls can be really strange. I can't see what you can see in him. He's a loser. You hear me? He's a loser. Believe me, I know a bad seed when I see one." When I started dating Murray Sanderson, no one was more disappointed about this than my brother.
You do know he was quite a player when I was at school. A serial cheater. He had a reputation for a roving eye that could not be tamed or subdued. I think he broke more girls' hearts than I've had hot dinners, he had informed me.
I know all about that. It's old news. Murray even admitted it to me, that he'd been a bit of a wild thing back in his day. But he swore to me he's not like that anymore. Even his mother told me that I'd work miracles on her son. What did she say? Oh, yes, that her son looks settled now.
You believe Murray when he told you that his days of pursuing women are over? My brother asked me. Have you not heard of the old adage that a leopard never changes its spots?
Of course I have, but I believe people can change, and I know Murray has. My brother's expression looked exceedingly doubtful.
If you say so, sis. Let's just say, if he breaks your little heart, sis, don't you dare come running to me in floods of tears. I will be saying, I told you so.
You really don't believe my relationship with Murray can work, do you, Cameron?
No, I don't, sis. It has nothing to do with you at all. Whether you know it or not, Murray Sanderson is in love with someone else, and that someone is not you.
My eyes rounded with horror. My jaw dropped open. Who? I said, my blood running cold.
He's in love with himself, of course. Who else do you think I was talking about?
Nonsense! He has a positive self-esteem, that's all. Of course, when I announced I was getting married to Murray Sanderson, my brother had almost looked sorrowful.
Really?
He'd said, raising an arched brow.
Why would you want to marry him, sis?
I love him.
You love him, says my brother. Or you fancy him. What is it? There's a big difference, you know.
I love him and I fancy him.
If you love him, sis, what do you love about him?
I like how I feel in his presence, how he makes me feel. I enjoy being in his company. Isn't that good enough? He's a real charmer. I can tell you that.
It's a start, sis, but I wouldn't call that love.
I reflected over my brother's words as I gather my jeans and sweatshirt together and dash down the sweeping staircase. I can see my parents have retired to bed. I think they're both exhausted, and I know that an early night will serve them both well. I can hear my mother mumbling away in the bedroom. I almost feel sorry for my poor father, as I imagine my mother is giving him a list of all the things she's got to do in the morning, while my dad is trying to feign an interest when in truth a party for him holds about as much appeal as watching paint dry. I know tomorrow is important for him, though, as he's going to be giving me away to be married. In truth, my father has never expressed any candid, uninhibited feelings about my husband-to-be. I'm not sure what he actually thinks about my fiancée. You see, growing up, my introverted father never wore his heart on his sleeve. He's reserved, laconically placid and privately reticent. It would have been nice for him to have opened his heart and told me he actually liked my fiancée. All he has ever said is, "Sweetheart, as long as you're happy, I'm happy." I'd love to know what he really thinks about Murray, but extracting his feelings would be like ruthlessly breaking into an oyster shell to carefully prize out the pearl. My father has never been loquaciously forthcoming with his emotions, you could say. So I'm now in the kitchen, being greeted by our 2 miniature schnauzers, who are wagging their tails excitedly. I suspect my sudden serendipitous appearance has given them reason to hope that they might be given a brief run outdoors, but they're to be disappointed. Luckily they're very well-behaved dogs, who are not inclined to bark or make a commotion. You stay there, boys. I'm going out for a little while. I'm going to meet my brother. I grab the torch, open the kitchen door, closing it quietly behind me so it locks, and replace the key under the mat. I amble past the marquee and all the outside wedding furniture, where synthetic resin wicker sofas and white canvas upholstered cushioning and teak tables adorn the yard, as if it's become a glamorous outdoor living space. It does look spectacular, even at night. I look up at the farmhouse and I can swear I see the figure of my father peering out of the top bedroom window, watching me. But after he realises I have seen him, he hurriedly pulls the curtains back. I notice he didn't seem surprised to see me in the yard this late in the evening. It is almost as if he knew I would be out here. In the old days, if my father had seen me hanging around in the yard this late, he would have ferried me back indoors, fiercely reprimanding me for such incredulous behaviour, and warning me about the perilous dangers of the indigenous wildlife. Over the years we've seen a mountain lion loitering around our yard from time to time, but it seems times have changed. Maybe he's loosening the reins on my life, having come to terms that I'm no longer his little girl, but a fully grown adult. The moonlight tonight is soft. It magnanimously caresses the velvety sky with an ethereal light, while the stars are buttoned brightly in the sky like sparkling jewels that shine down on me. I can hear the chorus of crickets and frogs serenading the evening, while my heart begins to flutter excitedly in my chest. I can't wait to see Cameron again. I've missed him so very much. It's such a beautiful evening. The weather is warm and inviting, although there's a cool breeze blowing, which is nuzzling my cheek with very fresh kisses, while the trees almost hug me with a warm, welcoming embrace. I feel incredibly enchanted in this woodland oasis, where me and my brother had frolicked in the past together. Fleeting memories tease my mind, as I hear wistful, childish laughter from bygone days, when we would aimlessly run through the trees, playing hide-and-seek together. "You'll never find me," I call out to Cameron. "I'll find you, sis," my brother will cry out confidently. "I always find you." It's strange, but those evocative, nostalgic memories are indelibly seared on this place, as if time has held them very still, as they replay themselves back in my mind. In those days, Cameron thought I was the coolest sister, as I wasn't adverse to climbing trees, lifting up rocks to look for strange, creepy crawlies beneath their surfaces, of which we found many unusual specimens that we would eagerly study. We'd play cowboys and Indians together, or cops and robbers. I preferred boys' games, as playing with dolls seemed awfully silly to me, because that wasn't fun. I guess you could say I was a bit of a tomboy back then. Cameron would tell me sometimes he'd forget I was actually a girl, as I didn't act like someone afraid of getting myself very dirty. Let's just say I hadn't graced the woodgrove for ages, and I reminded myself of what a tranquil sanctuary it really was, even at night. I know every part of it so well that even the obscure features of the trees that pencil up into the sky, shrouded by the blanket of darkness, do not intimidate me at all. Instead, I feel strangely comfortable in this cosy place that harnesses for me so many delicious memories of the beautiful days I spent with my brother. Then there he is, sitting under the tree, surrounded by the light of a few lanterns. He's sitting on a blanket with a picnic basket and a bucket containing champagne. He's grinning as he runs towards me and embraces me in a very warm hug. It is incredibly good to see him.
"I've missed you, sis. Really missed you. How long has it been?"
5 months and 3 days to be exact."
"Wow, you been counting?" said my brother, grinning. "Sit down, sis. Let's have some champagne together, because tonight we're celebrating you."
"What about my wedding tomorrow? Are we celebrating that too? Or do you still have issues with Murray Sanderson?"
"I'm afraid my feelings towards Murray have not changed, sis. The man is not good for you,"
he says, handing me an effervescent glass of sparkling champagne.
"You know I've never liked him, from when we were very little."
"Of course I know you don't like him, Cameron, but I hope you're going to give him a bit of leeway. Now he's going to be becoming a member of our family." My brother pauses for a moment, looking distinctly uncomfortable. I can see by the strained expression on his face he's wrestling to tell me something. "Cameron, what are you not telling me? Out with it. I know when you're hiding something."
"Nicole, you know I care about you more than anyone in the world."
"Of course I do. What is this all about?"
"Me and Dad. We did something that you're not going to be pleased about, but I want you to know we did it because we love you."
My blood runs cold. A chill descends down my spine. "You and Dad? What did you do?" My brother is hanging his face, avoiding my gaze.
"Sis, someone saw Murray in town, another town, not too far from here, getting rather cosy with another woman. This was about 2 weeks ago. They say that Murray was being very flirtatious, and it looked like the two of them were more than just friends."
"Who is she?"
"I don't know, but Dad had a plan. We didn't have much time to lose. You see, Dad was very concerned about Murray. He's always believed him to be a player. We're both very troubled that he's going to end up breaking your heart, so we set him up. I know it wasn't the appropriate thing to do, but we really didn't have a choice in the matter."
I'm trying to process everything my brother is telling me.
We set him up. We contacted a call girl. We asked her to flirt with Cameron and to see where it would lead, because we knew what bar he frequented on a Tuesday night. Dad brought her a camera in a pen, and we got the footage. The woman told us that she merely fluttered her eyelashes at Cameron, and he couldn't resist her. My brother hands me pictures from footage so that I could observe everything. I stare at the footage in disbelief, as I see my husband is in a compromising position with another woman, their naked bodies entangled together under the bedsheets in a hotel room. I cannot believe what I'm seeing.
I'm very, very sorry, sis. Really I am. Me and Dad, we took no pleasure in any of this. But we desperately needed you to see what your fiancé was like. You were so blinded by him. We knew he hadn't changed. If he would do this to you before your wedding day, what will he do when you're married? I couldn't bear to see you go through heartbreak. The man has got no moral compass. We wanted to show you what we knew all along, that your fiancé cannot be trusted. As I told you before, once a player, always a player. I'm really sorry, sis.
So Dad was in this with you? I had no idea he felt this way about Murray.
I'm afraid so, sis. He was distressed about your relationship with Murray. He didn't believe Murray would be right for you. He knew the man would break your heart. Tell me, sis, what are you thinking? You're not mad at us, are you?
I don't know what to think, Cameron. But I know I can't marry Murray in the morning. I can't. I can't believe he did this to me. But you're right. If it was so easy for him to be seduced like this, then he really doesn't have any integrity. And it doesn't bode well for my future. I can't marry a man like that.
I'm surprised by how stoic you're being, sis. But I'm afraid Murray is coming towards us right now. Don't look yet. But I invited him over, so you can have it out with him. He needs to acknowledge his treachery to you. He thinks he's coming here for a celebratory romantic drink before the wedding.
I look up to see the figure of my fiancé walking through the woodgrove. You called him here? I asked my brother incredulously. Why would you do that? I don't want to see him after everything he's done.
You need to talk to him, don't you? The wedding is tomorrow. You need to make some decisions, to confront him with what you know.
What's all this about? Says Murray with a big grin on his face as he approaches us, his eyes feasting on the champagne and the picnic basket. This looks very romantic, Nicole, he says, coming up to me to pull me into his arms. Hello, Cameron. This is very nice of you to do this for the both of us before our big day tomorrow. I'll leave you both to it, says Cameron, giving me a wink. I watch him walking away through the woodgrove and wish with all my heart that he had stayed with me. You want some champagne, do you, Murray? I'll get you some, shall I? I move over to the bucket of champagne and pour my fiancé a glass, throwing the cold fizzy drink into his face. Murray looks at me in astonishment, and something in the woodgrove appears to be chuckling. I look around to see what that strange sound is, but I see nothing.
What the hell? What did you do that for, Nicole? What's wrong with you?
You mean you don't know? I say, the anger rising up in my chest so that my suppressed sobs come bursting out of my throat. You want to know, do you? You want to know why I'm upset? Well, I will show you. I thrust the pictures into his hands, and Cameron's face grows white. He glances at the photographs with a befuddled expression.
Where did you get these from?
Does it matter where I got them? I don't think it matters. What matters is what they contain. That's what matters.
Let me explain everything to you, Nicole. Let's talk about this. It was once off. It meant nothing.
The tears are spilling down my face, and I dart hurriedly into the woodgrove to run away from him. I don't want him to see me like this. I don't want him to see me breaking down and how much he has hurt me. But the gravity of what has happened has hit me so hard. So I just dash aimlessly into the woodgrove with Murray running after me, calling my name.
Nicole! Nicole! Hold on a minute. We need to talk. Let's talk. We need to have a word about this. I need to explain everything to you. I love you, Nicole. I'm very sorry. Please, please don't be like this. Let's talk about this.
I'm running through the woodgrove. I'm not exactly sure where I'm going. My tears have made my vision bleary and rather obscured, and my cognitive thinking is scrambled. I want to get away from my fiancé, and all I can think about is finding a suitable place to hide. But this is a game of hide-and-seek that I don't want to be playing. I'm almost tripping over the bracken and jutting rocks to get away from Murray, whom is running after me, calling my name. "Nicole, come back! Where are you going? We need to talk. Please don't be like this." Then something inconspicuous comes bounding out of the dark, looming shadows. Something indeterminate, very black. It's thumping the ground with its ponderous feet. At first I think it's a very large black bear, standing up on its hind legs. But then I realise it's a Bigfoot, as soft shadows of revealing moonlight puddle across his rather noble-looking human face. The Bigfoot looks indignantly irked, very angry, but his focus is not on me at all. It's all directed on Murray. He's acting the way a protective dog would react if a household is being burgled and the burglar has broken into the property. This is exactly how this territorial Bigfoot is behaving, as he gives Murray chase. It would seem the capriciously belligerent Bigfoot is growling and screaming directly at Murray, as if his presence in the woodgrove is an abomination that needs to be spat out like a filthy piece of chewing gum. Murray is running backwards, his terrified eyes as round as saucers. He is panic-stricken as he fixes his gaze on the Bigfoot. He looks as if he thinks the Bigfoot is going to kill him in any minute. But I knew if that were the case, Murray would already be dead, as the Bigfoot is chasing him at a much slower pace, when he could easily have increased his pace and grabbed him with not much of a problem. Once Murray has escaped the forest, the Bigfoot returns to me. I'm not sure why I never ran away at the first opportunity that came my way, but I sensed I wasn't in trouble, and that I could trust the strange, idiosyncratic creature. How I knew this, even I don't know. The Bigfoot's demeanour shifts, and as odd as it sounds, I feel as if I know him, as if I've always known him, and a childhood memory is triggered. I'm sure I'd seen him before somewhere. All 8 foot 700 pounds of his strapping muscular impression. The creature is all male, exceedingly benevolent. I have no fear in his presence. I think he must have sensed I was trying to escape my fiancé, and so on my behalf he intervened by scaring him away. And I'm not sorry he did that at all. The creature reaches out a hand to pull me to my feet. His deep-set, treacle-coloured eyes look very concerned. I know he can sense my obvious distress. "He's gone," I hear the voice in my head. "He won't be coming back. I scared him away." I look up at the Bigfoot and I can't help but smile. "You scared him, all right," I say. "Why do I feel like I know you?" I hear the voice in my head. "Because you know me. You might not have consciously known me, but you always knew I was here. I've been watching over you and your brother all your lives, making sure you're safe." I was amazed that the Bigfoot was actually communicating with me telepathically, but I felt so comforted, so reassured in his presence, and all the hurt and betrayal I felt towards Murray wilted away, as if in the great grand scheme of things, everything that had happened was for the greater good. The Bigfoot stares at me with his human face, and I hear in my head, "Don't be sad. All is well with the world, and it always will be, and it always has been, and it always shall be." I am escorted faithfully through the forest by the Bigfoot, touched to have met such a remarkable creature that so clearly had my back, and saw me as significantly important to his environment, like the trees in the woodgrove and the indigenous wildlife. To cut a long story short, the wedding was naturally called off, but not the celebration, where 150 guests were invited to a party just to celebrate life, and a party we certainly had, and celebrate we most certainly did. I did speak to Murray to make my peace with him. He made no mention of the Bigfoot that had chased him from the woodgrove, but admitted to me that he did have a problem with fidelity. I'm so glad my father and brother saved me from marrying him, as he is currently on wife number 3, and one of those wives with a broken marriage could so easily have been me. So there you are. That's my story. Wow, what an incredible story. Until next time, goodbye and good night.